Sherls here. Thank you for stopping by on my channel. Welcome or welcome back. If you are new, please subscribe and help my channel grow. I am super excited to share with you this new tool I made. It is a book cradle that will help you pierce your signatures neatly. If you are like me, having trouble making sure that you pierce the pages in the fourth line, especially the pages on the front, then this is the tool for you. If you don't have that problem, this is still a tool that will help you tremendously in your junk journaling journey. Let me demonstrate how to use this cradle with these signatures. So I'm going to make sure that all the pages are in the position I want it to be. Yeah, I think this is fine. Then I'm going to tap it on my tapper like this to make sure that all the pages fall into the fourth line. And using my piercing guide, I'm going to poke the binding holes. I highly recommend you make yourself a piercing guide. It is extremely useful to ensure that the binding looks tidy when making a journal with multiple signatures. So all you need to do is just using your pokey tool and just push on the fourth line straight down like this. And once I'm done, you can see that all my pages are poked properly in the fourth line. And as a bonus point, once you are done with this cradle, you can disassemble it. Really? Let me show you. So just pull this out and this one, and here you can store it flat. And when you need it, just assemble it together. So slide this into this slot here and then open it such that this slot here will rest on this notch like this, and on the other side as well. This looks really hard to insert, but that's on purpose. I make this really snug so it doesn't fall around. And here your cradle is ready to use. You only need two things to make this cradle: a piece of fabric and a thick chipboard. If you don't have a thick chipboard like this, you can make it yourself using cereal boxes. All you have to do is adhere these cereal boxes together to make a thick piece. Actually, this cradle, I made it using cereal boxes. I adhere 4 sheets of cereal boxes on top of each other to get this thick chipboard. So how do I adhere it? It's super easy, and I know you all can do it. First, let me open this. Then we are going to apply a generous amount of adhesive all over this cereal box. Don't be shy with this, because we want these cereal boxes, or if you are using snack boxes, to be adhered properly and leaving no gap, especially on the edges. I like to adhere the printed side facing each other, so my finished cradle doesn't have the images of whatever boxes that I use, and it looks more properly like a chipboard, or in the bookbinding world it is called grayboard. I don't recommend you using cardboard boxes, the boxes that you got from your online order or packaging, because it is not solid. It has a hollow card, I don't really think it will hold the shape better than this chipboard. So after that, I like to put a lot of clips on the edges just to make sure that it dries properly, and again, not leaving any gap. On the other side as well. Okay, I'm out of the small one. No, I think I will use this one here. And then I usually leave this for a couple hours so it dries properly. I already have one here that I prepared beforehand. It's the cereal boxes that I adhere and clip together. And let's see if it dries properly. Yeah. And it feels pretty sturdy for me. So let's see. Let's just use this. So this is only 2 sheets of cereal boxes adhered together. And we will see which one will feel more sturdy. The one that I use 4 sheets of cereal boxes or 2 sheets. This will be a good experiment. So when you make this, you know it from what I'm doing here, whether 4 sheets of cereal boxes or 2 sheets of cereal boxes is more sturdy. Now that you got your chipboard ready, we need to cut this into this one. You need 2 pieces of 12 by 3.5 or 30.5 centimeter by 9 centimeter, and 2 pieces of 6 by 2. And be very careful when cutting your chipboard. It is thick material. You won't be able to just slice it and have your pieces. Do it gently and slowly. First, let me trim this excess here. So just do it like this, like 1 and 2. Just be patient. And be careful, don't cut your finger when doing this. That's done. So I have a straight edge here. And yeah, I leave a little bit gap here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back, try to squeeze in adhesive in between this gap and clip it back. Do I have to make sure that it is properly adhered? I believe so, because it will add more integrity to this book Cradle. So I will leave that side dry, and I'm going to cut the excess tab on this side. So I like to cut this excess tab after I adhere it, because in my opinion, it gives me more area to make sure that the edges is properly adhered. But before that, let's just make sure that I don't cut it too short. So this is over 12 inches. It means it's good. I can trim this a little bit. I already cut my pieces, and frankly, I don't really like this. It feels very flimsy to me, but we will finish this and then we can then use it as a comparison to the one that is 4 sheets of cereal boxes glued together to make a thicker chipboard pieces. So next step is we are going to align this 12 by 3.5 pieces chipboard like this, side by side, and then take a strip of fabric and we are going to adhere the strip of fabric across the connection here. So the piece of fabric that I'm using here is like 3.5 inches wide, but I am thinking of trimming off these edges here because it is thicker, and I don't really want that thickness. I also recommend you to use a thinner fabric. I have not yet using a thicker fabric, and I think thinner fabric will be adequate for the purpose of this project. It might not ended up straight line, but it's fine. If you have book cloth, then feel free to use it. You want something that's more sturdy, that you can poke over and over. So that means paper is not recommended. Actually, I think I should cut this first lengthwise and then tidy up the other edges. And I'm cutting this edge just to make sure that the fabric doesn't fray. This is a scrap fabric that I have around. I used this fabric a long time ago to make a messenger bag, and I still have these strips. I haven't used it for other projects, and I decided to use it for this project. Like that. And this two chipboard, we are going to align it like this. I want to make sure that they are properly aligned. Yep, I think that's good. And apply a generous amount of adhesive on these chipboards. And this strip will be like this. Oops. This side I cut it a little bit shorter, but that's fine as long as the area around the center fold line is properly covered, especially where these two chipboard join, because that's where we are going to poke our pages through. And I will make sure that this is properly adhered, and then I'm going to let this dry for whatever hours or minutes that it needed to properly dry. So yeah, this project you will have a lot of idle time that you can use to do other project while the pieces are drying. I think that's good, and I will put this aside for now. And while we are waiting for that piece to dry, let's work on the fit of our book cradle. So the 6 by 2 inches pieces, and for this one we are going to make these notches here, and it is around 1.58 inches from the corner, and we are going to make roughly a 1/4 inches or 0.7 centimeter wide, and the depth is around 3/16 or 0.4 centimeter. That's the measurement that I found looks pretty neat to me. And if you decided that that's not the angle that you like, you are more than welcome to experiment. So 1.58 inches in and 1/4 inches wide, and on the other side as well 1.58 and 1/4 inches. And the depth, you don't necessarily need to measure this. You can just do approximation. Just make sure that it is deep enough so it can hold the cradle really well and it's not slipping around. So actually for this one I use 1 and 8 inches because that seems easier to measure. And we are going to cut this notch. This one I don't think I need a ruler. I can just do something like this. And this one as well. So that's one piece. And the second piece, and that's my cradle fit. That's how I like to call it. So if you wonder why this piece has like 4 notches, well, it's because this is the first one that I made, and I decided I don't like the angle open way too wide than my preference. Let me show you here. It goes all the way to the notch and the other notch, and here you see it is too wide. I want it to be a little bit more like angle like this, and that's why the measurement that I gave you is this one, these 2 notches here. This, if you put it on the notches, this is the angle that I like it better. If you want it to be more like this, feel free to adjust the position of the notches here. You have 2 sides. You can change if you don't like the other one, and actually you have another piece as well that you can play around. The fabric is properly adhered to the chipboard, and now I can trim off this excess here so it looks more tidy. And the next step, we are going to fold it like this and make the slot. For the slot, here, this is my cheat sheet. We are going to make a mark from here. This is the fold line. You fold it like this, and it will go 1 inch or 2.5 centimeter in from the edge for 1 5/8 inches or 4 centimeter. So it goes 1, 1.5, 1 5/8. This, and the thickness will be the thickness of our fit here, the cradle fit, and this cradle fit is roughly 1 16 inches, or if you like to, you can also do something like this. Align this edge on this line like this and draw a line on the other side. It look a little bit crooked, but we can fix that one. Let me try this again. Yeah. And on the other side as well, 1 inches in from the edge like this, 1 5/8 from the fold. For the thickness of the cradle fit, And now we need to cut this slot. We are going to cut through the first and the second piece. And that's why we want it to be folded like this and cut. We are cutting through a lot of layers of peppers, so be patient and just do it carefully. Don't cut your fingers. Sometimes I like to flip my piece and check if the cut went all the way through the layers. And if it is not, I just trace it again and cut it. And for this tiny part here, just step through the layers. Yeah, it's cut properly. And I still have a tiny bit here that I need to trim off. And before we continue, I like to check whether the feet of the cradle can go through this slot easily. And like this. Oh, perfect. Feels so nice. So that's done. And now we repeat the other side. This fabric got peeled off as I was cutting. It's fine. I will adhere it again later. It didn't happen to me when I was working on my first one. It only happened on this second piece. Now I'm going to fix this part here. It's interesting that only this side the fabric kind of peel off, but the other side was fine. Okay. Okay, let's let it dry for now. Oops. This one also peel a little bit. So I think what happening was I didn't apply enough adhesive on this side. That's why when I was cutting through the chipboard, it got peeled off. And I don't like this little extra here. I'll just cut it off. And this one, I think I can use my scissors just to trim this off. And I still have a tiny bit of the cereal box here. Whew, I made a lot of mess here, but this is what happens when we are crafting, right? And checking again with the cradle fit. Oh, this one I have a feeling that I cut it a little bit too wide, so it can slide so easily. And this one is more snug fit. I like it to be more snug fit like this and not like super easily slide like this, but it will still work because the main thing is for this slot to rest properly on these two notches. Our cradle is pretty much done, but as I noticed with mine, this section here tends to pull apart, so I like to enforce it using 2 strips of fabric. On my example, I enforce it first and then cut the slot, and I found it's not easy to measure the slot properly. So for this tutorial, I'm telling you to cut the slot first and then enforce it with a thin strip of fabric. So my fabric is shorter than 1 inch and it is as wide as the piece of fabric that I used inside, which was 3.5 inches. Actually 3 inches of fabric will be adequate for this. 2 inches, I don't know, I like it to be like having 1.5 inches excess on both sides, but if you think 2 inches is enough, then feel free to do so. And like this, and on the other side as well. Oops, someone doesn't want to stay. We will use this clip here for now to make sure that the fabric stays. It is properly dried and secure. And moment of truth, testing this Cradle, and then I can tell you which one I really suggest you to make using 2 sheets of cereal boxes or 4 sheets. So let's test it using this signature here. Double check if I have all the pieces in the position where I want it to be. That looks good. Tapping, and this is my guide. Like this. Push. Yeah, I think I still feel that the 4 sheets of cereal boxes holds much better. I can somehow feel that my Cradle kind of like shifting the shape as I push my needle. Yeah, see, it's kind of like wanting to like open wide. So yep, I will still go back using this one, the example that I made, using 4 sheets of cereal box. And this one, as you can see, it stays the shape. It doesn't want to open wide. Let's show it again. Like this. And see, with my hand, as I push, this middle part wants to open wide. Well, that will be the only difference of what you would make than this tutorial. The steps will be the same, but instead of sticking 2 sheets of cereal boxes together, I really recommend you to stick 4 sheets of cereal boxes. And this is perfect. I love it. If you already make one using 2 sheets of cereal boxes and then you don't like it, I personally don't recommend you to adhere these already shaped sheets together, because in my experience, you cannot really adhere 2 sheets perfectly. There will be a slight little gap there, or like this. You see here, like this bottom fit, the notch is not properly aligned with the top one. So that's what I would suggest you. Adhere 4 sheets of cereal boxes together to make a thicker piece and more sturdy Cradle. What I did with this one was I adhere 2 cereal boxes with the printed side facing each other. So I have like 2 parts like this, and then I adhere these 2 parts like this. So it looks more neater and you don't have to see the print of the cereal box. As a recap, these are the steps of making this DIY book Cradle. First, prepare the chipboard. If you don't have a solid thick chipboard, make it yourself by adhering cereal boxes or product boxes together. I like to adhere the printed side facing each other so you won't see the ugly printed side on the finished product. Adhere 4 sheets of the boxes together to get a thick and solid piece. If you finish adhering it and you still feel that it is flimsy, adhere more. Do not use a cardboard. This is a cardboard. Why? Because it has a hollow core. So this one is hollow. It's not solid. In the long term, it won't do you well. And the second step, cut 2 pieces 12 by 3.5 inches or 30.5 centimeter by 9 centimeter, and 2 pieces 6 inches by 2 inches or 15.3 centimeter by 5 centimeter. Then join the long pieces with a strip of fabric. I suggest you to use at least 3 inches wide fabric or 7.3 centimeter. And the next step, well, these 2 pieces are drying. Cut the notches on the 6 by 2 inches pieces. This is the measurement, 1 5/8 inches in from this edge, as wide as 1/4 inches or 0.7 centimeter, and as deep as 3 16 inches or 0.4 centimeter. This is the measurement that I use. You can adjust it based on your preference. The closer these notches to these edges, the wider your book cradle open. And the farther the notches from these edges, your cradle will open less wider. And once that's done, our next step is to cut the slots on the long pieces. So this is the joint, and you want to cut it 1 inches in from both edges, as deep as 1 5/8 inches or 4 centimeter, and the width of the slot will be the thickness of your cradle fit. And the last step is to enforce the main body or the cradle part using 2 thin strips of fabric. And that's it. 6 steps, only 2 materials, and you have your own book cradle. I will leave this here like this so you can take a screenshot of it. I hope this tool helps you in your junk journaling or bookbinding journey. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't and leave a comment. Your support means a lot to me. Happy crafting! Bye!